a quickened term which will grab people's attention, but it is not a gasoline tax alone, exclusively. It's a motor fuel tax.
Oh, right, right.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
diesel and gasoline are grouped the same for tax purposes
Right, okay.
as a motor fuel.
Now,
Now, if you live in Winthrop, or you live in Wellesley, or you live anywhere, just about 99 and 9/10% of everything that you use comes to you on the back of a truck.
yep,
That truck utilizes diesel fuel in most cases, which is purchased with a tax that's included.
right.
Currently, the tax is included in the charges for the delivery, which is passed on to the consumer in the price of whatever they buy
By the retailer.
by the
Right.
retailer. So consequently, if that goes up by a percentage, it becomes something which will be added to the cost of the product you buy. So a pint of strawberries that cost you $1 today, if things go up by 5%, it costs you $1.05 tomorrow. Well, the gurus that go out and plot this sort of thing say, well, that's inflationary. Guess what's included in
If the inflation goes up, that means the gas tax automatic, or fuel tax,
Fuel
will
tax.
increase accordingly.
accordingly?
A half a cent, 2 cents, whatever it may be.
Oh, they'll round it off. If it's a half a cent, they'll just make it another
Oh,
cent.
yeah, we
Oh,
can't
I-
keep track of half cents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I got an interesting.
pretty cute, huh?
Huh? Oh, it's cute because they thought about it. Why is the sales tax 6.75%? Do they not collect on 7% roughly?
Yeah, yeah,
They round it off.
round it off, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they can brag on it's only 6.75%, but when you go to wherever you go, you pay the equivalent of approximately 7 cents.
And if it's over a half a cent, they round it off to the
Yeah.
next highest digit. Oh, sure, sure.
Now, that theoretically, I have been told, I'm not sure, that at the end of the business day, the merchant gets to keep the difference between what his total sales were and what he collected, and that's his reward for
Little extra, yeah,
collecting
for
the
collecting,
taxes.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think the more important issue
That's
that you
unfair, yeah.
raised was the fact that it's almost causing inflation
Oh, yeah.
when they raise the price of the gasoline or the fuel tax, and it raises the prices of the commodities that are being delivered by the fuel, which is inflation. It almost will never end.
Yeah, right.
And so now they've got an automatic situation in place where they don't have to publicize
No.
a gas tax increase. All of a sudden, inflation numbers come out.
It
and
happens.
It shows,
Yep.
it just happens, and everybody will try to keep that quiet.
right. Oh, well, nothing will be said. It'll automatically increase, that's all.
Well, the only way you'll see that is when the price of the gasoline pump is raised a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah,
Now-
but Jim, what are you going to do? Not buy gasoline?
No, but we've got, again, we go back to our original challenge, and that is to stop the rules and regulations that the government is implementing. How could we possibly have allowed the politician to put a fuel tax in place that automatically goes up with inflation? That's insanity.
Right.
No.
We never should have allowed that.
Okay, what about the toll gentlemen? Do you remember
Oh.
they wanted to save, years ago, we all remember the toll booths at both ends of the Sumner Tunnel. Okay, they said, we're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna take care of East Boston, going in, same thing with the other one, Callahan coming back and all, and the Mass Pike, take some tolls down there in different parts, some, the Tobin Bridge, up and down, each level. Let's get rid of that. We're gonna double the fee to travel, but it's gonna save people a lot of time and convenience and all. Now, let's put the toll booths back so we can get both. They never said anything about cutting the price of the tolls, which will probably remain the same. So in fact, our tolls are gonna double, or at least have some kind of an impact in the near future, and the big long lines are gonna start to appear again.
Yeah, but the justification for taking one of the northbound toll out of the equation
Right.
was they wanted to simplify things, make things easier, and save money.
Save money.
Okay, now just remember that.
Yep.
Because now they want to put it back the way it was.
Yep.
So it must mean it's going to cost more money, it's going to be more complicated, and it's going to be much more difficult.
Now they're
because
gonna-
that's what they were trying to take out of the equation when they stopped it.
Now they're going to insist everybody have a transponder or automatic deduction, but you're going to have at least 1 or 2 cash booths. No way to avoid it. What happens to the stranger that comes over the Tobin Bridge and he has no transponder? Well, we'll get his number and we'll bill him, along with a fine, no doubt. But I mean, you talk about Detroit, ladies and gentlemen, in our own backyard we worry about things. They're not telling us everything. These are the plans. But I mean, it's government, regulations, intrusion. Damn it all, no matter where you turn, who's taking care of us, the poor average citizen?
Well, you hit it on there. They're not telling us.
Yeah, not
Now,
telling us.
that is the secret of success with the gasoline
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
motor fuel tax, which is keyed to inflation. They don't have to tell anybody.
No.
So instead of 367.9, it's 368.9.
Yeah.
So who's going to sit there and say, "Gee, I wonder where that extra penny came from"?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but see, they're trying to take care of us. I don't want them taking care of us. Because the country was founded on we take care of ourselves.
Right.
Okay.
All right? And we brought this up, and it's frightening. Detroit is in place because of government intrusion in the lives of everybody in Detroit. And while that is happening, the socialist, communist Chinese are getting out of the way of people, and their economy is expanding.
But Detroit didn't just happen, Jim.
No,
the
it took
regime out
53
there, the
years.
politicians that run the Detroit city, and I'm not talking about party leaders. We don't even worry about that. This has evolved over 50 years when
50.
times were good.
That's right.
All right, when times aren't so good, now we're paying the penalty. Tomorrow has arrived for them. And I talked about 5 years for European economy coming here. You said I missed the mark by a couple of years.
Well, you did. You thought it would take 5 years.
Yep.
It took 3.
So we're getting there. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the things you can't forget. You know, we don't like to be hopping on you. Say, oh, these fellas over there, they're old and they're grumpy.
Yeah.
We're trying to be practical. Keep your eye and ear peeled to see what's going on. You know, I don't know what's good at ever. I don't have any luck talking to legislators about this thing, but somebody has to make waves.
Yeah, but you see, it's very simple. I love Winston Churchill said, and I love this quote. He says, "Socialism is a philosophy of failure. Its inherent virtue is the sharing of misery." Now, just think
right.
about that for a moment. Right now, Detroit is socialist, and their sharing of misery is all over the.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they're doing exactly that. They're sharing the misery.
And there's no light at the end of the tunnel right there.
The
All
only-
you see is gloom and doom.
The only light at the end of the tunnel is, and somebody in Detroit has come out with this suggestion, they want to privatize certain things that the government is taking care of now because they recognize they've come to the end of the line, and the only possibility of getting things back in shape is putting things in the hands of the people, and they want to start out very simply. They want to privatize the parking meters and the parking garages and a couple of other things. That
You don't mean get out of government business or
The
get the
government-
government out of our
the
business.
government
Well.
can't do it. The government, we brought up in the past the Indiana Turnpike
Yeah,
and the Massachusetts Turnpike.
yeah.
The Indiana Turnpike is run by the private sector,
And makes money.
and they pay millions and millions of dollars to Indiana,
Yeah.
which doesn't have one nickel of unfunded pension liability to deal with, doesn't have any maintenance costs to deal with, snow removal or
No
anything
personnel
like that.
problems.
No personnel problems at all. And you contrast that to the Massachusetts Turnpike, with all of the problems we're going through now, we're going to have one-way tolls, we're going to have two-way tolls. We're going to go ahead and have most people with transponders and some people with that. I mean, it's
All the time the gas, fuel tax keeps going up in the
Yeah,
meantime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if the Massachusetts legislature would do what the Indiana legislature did, they could rent that turnpike out. They wouldn't have one thing to do with all the problems of maintenance and snow removal and all that. And they could just sit back there and collect millions of dollars every year.
Meanwhile, as a 2 cents worth of thoughts for today, starting with Detroit, ending up with our own backyard in Massachusetts, is bringing us very close to the end of the program. So any last minute quick comments about what I keep saying at the end of every program, every time we conclude, think about things. Try to pay attention to what we say. We're not trying to twist your arm. We're saying we're making you aware of what's going on, and God knows what the founding fathers would think of the conditions in the United States as a country, in the Commonwealth of Mass as a state, and in the town of Winthrop as a community, with all of the intrusions that we face every day, because we all have complaints about how the government runs things, but it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and no solutions.
And more inefficient, and more inefficient, and more inefficient.
And more criticized by everybody and their brother. So,
Well, there you hit it. See, it's bigger, but it don't get better.
right,
No.
think about that. When election time comes, we're not touting candidates. When it comes, try to see what these birds have to say and see if we can hold their feet to the fire.
Amen.
And so I think that's going to have to conclude it for today, ladies and gentlemen. We just scratched the surface. We could be with you for 2 more hours. We might get a little boring, but you certainly would see us coming up with lots of our suggestions. Anyway, we'll be back next month with another show. Watch this; is going to be repeated many times during this month of August.